Ladies and gentlemen, it's time. Welcome back to Crazed Game Master Rambles, Episode 5, Explorer's Guide to Nautillic. No one has asked me for this, yet I do it anyways because I think it is funny. We're going to talk more about Eldetch and specifically the continent of Nautillic. I cannot wait. I'm super excited about it. If there's something in the Eldetch world that you're like, I want to hear more about that, this channel is so small that if you just drop that in the comments, I will almost certainly talk about it, because what else is there to talk about? There's not much else to talk about, so why not, Let's jump on in. Let's just start talking about it. So, what we're going to do is this is the map of it. Let me get it a little bit bigger. There we go. This is the map of Nautillic. As you can see, there are several different locations and groups of locations, and we'll talk about what each of these are, and a couple of interesting POIs like the abscess and what all of these islands are and kind of what's up with it. But I'm going to start with just a quick general overview. Biggest thing is piece for a price. There is a lot of really interesting stuff happening in Nautillic, but the biggest thing is that there is a general disgruntlement with the government because of how tightly fisted the government is on certain things. There are a couple things the government does actually incredibly well, and then there are other things that they do that can seem incredibly cruel and evil, and overall there's just this disgruntlement there. And it doesn't help that there's also an active war happening in Nautillic. Nautillic is being invaded, but we'll get to all that in a second. The government is an oligarchy. The capital of Nautillic, which is here in the blue, has Calidia, which is the capital of Nautillic, but also of the entire continent. And each of these places, like the Coalition of Fang's Crossing, People of Hollisk, Republic of Ashfield, so on and so forth, they all have one seat on the Council of Calidia, with the exception of the capital of Nautillic, which has 2 seats. So that means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There are 9 seats on the Council of Calidia, and they meet every year and host a hearing in which they will all talk about the ongoings of Calidia and of Nautillic and laws that need to be passed and things like that. But each individual Senate member or council member has pretty much a governing rule over their individual locale as well. I don't quite have it ironed out as to who these people are yet and what they stand for. I have a couple of names of some government political leaders in the capital of Nautillic, but besides that, I don't have much. So if you have ideas, toss them down there too. But yeah, let's jump on in. So this is a high fantasy with a coat of paint that says adventure is amazing, powerful monsters, glory, fame, fortune. But underneath, political juggernauts of corruption are trying to rule over the nation. War against the Malkanites and their god, the Eyes of Eldetch. Soldiers of Malkon are invading Nautillic from the north and trying to liberate the people. So this is what this means. The territory of Malkon, which is basically the current land that has been held captive by the invading force of Malkon, is slowly expanding. It's heading towards Damascus. It's heading towards Duskhold of the Guilds of Makron, and they are ruthless. They're brutal. It's a brutal slog, slowly gaining land. They are taking land, but also the government is trying to show like, hey, this isn't bothering us that much. We still have plenty of power. We're still in control. We have plenty of time. But we'll talk a little bit more about why they're doing that later. But I want to jump into what are these different places. I have just a brief description of each to kind of give a little bit of an example as to what goes on in each of these. So starting with the people of Hollisk. Militaristic might, strong in character and physicality, diplomatic relations with all nearby states, sending military support for food and technology. The people of Hollisk are a very well-disciplined military force, and they are all about, like, might is right. And so the guilds of Makron, which are much more technologically advanced, they have a pretty tight relationship with the guilds of Makron, sending them military support in return for technology and food. Food also from the capital of Nautillic, which there's a lot of farming land in the capital of Nautillic. All this junk here, all there's tons of stuff. They are at war with Malkon, of course, and obviously everyone is aware that Malkon is invading. The Malkonites is what they call themselves, are invading this land. And the people of Hollisk probably were the best case scenario for where they were going to invade, because they are the strongest military besides the actual capital of Nautillic. So that's good for them. The guilds of Makron are the technological center of the continent. Threadborn are created here in Ventral, and they trades for food and military protection in return for some of the best technology and advancements on the continent. Ventral, which is here, is a city where Threadborn are created. Threadborn are a race or species in D&D that are like Warforged, but more artsy and stuff, which I didn't know that they existed until one of my players approached me and goes, "Seth, could I please play as a Threadborn?" And I was like, what is that? But actually, I really, really like them. And so Threadborn are a unique species, pretty much exclusive to Nautilus. Some of them have kind of left and gone on to different places, but because they require a specific type of maintenance to upkeep, they typically stay local to Nautilus so that they have access to that. But yeah, the Guilds of Makron, they have created them, they're like Warforged, but a little bit more delicate. Then next is the Coalition of Fang's Crossing. The Coalition is a group of individual cities who unite for the sake of protection. The region is very dangerous. Lots of monster hunters and guilds of artifact collectors who go into the jungles and swamps. They are pretty independent. So there's the Serpentine Jungle, there's the Corrupted Willow, which is a swamp, and the Fang's Crossing, Port Delamore, and Heilun. All three of these have united for the sake of protection, but besides that, they don't really spread out to other states. They're not really talking with the capital of Nautilus. They meet pretty much for the sake of, hey, we're here. But yeah, it's pretty dangerous. The Corrupted Willow, you see that there's a little bit of something purple, something evil, something vile going on there, but we don't know. And then the Serpentine Jungle, as its name says, there's probably quite a lot of reptilian or draconic stuff happening there, which could be not good. After that, we have the capital of Nautilus. The name speaks for itself. One of the biggest militaries, biggest city on the continent, and an economic powerhouse and incredible food production. Calidia is the capital of Nautilus and is the largest city by far of the entire continent. It is humongous. It has some really cool POIs within it. There is a guild known as the Blades of Novos, which resides here. Novos being a particularly powerful leader of the Church of Halleck, which is the god of light. And Novos, he established a guild within the Calidia, and some of the party members are actually members of that guild as of now. So they're doing some quests in there. It's pretty fun. That's where the party is currently as of July. So we'll see what happens in the next couple months. But yeah, Calidia is a humongous. There's a ton of food production here. And the reason is this claim of the wild. And this claim of the wild, the government of Nautilus has a very unique way of dealing with food. And what they have done is that they have given these claims of the wild, these two massive regions on their continent, and I've said there will be no production here, there will be no building here, no taking of the resources here. We're devoting all of this in thanks to Fia, the god of nature, and Micah, the god of animals in the wild. And so both of the gods of basically food, the creation of plants and nurturing of nature, and then also the hunt, the wild, and the animal, are being given these massive regions as almost worship to them. And in doing so, Fia and Micah have very much blessed the lands of Nautilus, making the food grow rich, and there is very rarely famine. And this is all awesome. There's a lot of really cool stuff that happens because of that. Food is affordable. Food is cheap. Food is in a great supply pretty much all throughout. Elkshade has a great amount of food. They host a harvest festival every year, every time that they bring in that food. And so food is not a problem on this continent. It's really unique in that sense. There are other continents that actually have some struggles with food. Malcon has some struggles with food, so that might be another reason why they're coming this way, right? After that, the Republic of Ashfield, very reserved and conservative with their resources. They don't align often, but do have very intelligent rule makers, lawyers, and doctrinal leadership within their guard and military forces. Crime is lowest in the Republic of Ashfield. There is little crime at all within the Republic of Ashfield. And Ashfield itself he titles himself, rather than a council, he considers himself a king. There is King Kagan Delamore within Ashfield. So to those of you who know who Kagan Delamore is, I appreciate you. He's the GOAT. But King Kagan Delamore, council member of the Senate, resides within the Ashfield. Next up is the Gathering of Dunkirk. The religious epicenter of Nautilus has the largest church to Ozak on the planet. It is humongous. The god of life and creation is Ozak, by the way, and is now named after the ascended demigod Dunkirk, one of the apostles of the faith of Ozak. So Dunkirk, who was known for just incredible deeds of protection, of kind of nurturing not only cities, but also the church of Ozak, has in the past couple hundred years ascended to demigodhood. And we can have another conversation about what all that junk is, but the Gathering of Dunkirk is named after him in his honor. And Port Sistaris has the largest church to Ozak ever. It basically is like a massive cathedral. It's pretty goated. Next up is the Southern Matriarchs of Vulcan Nest. Known for a ruthless, dogmatic leadership that almost leans to the idolization of their leaders, Vulcan Nest is home to the lowest population of people, but holds incredible wealth for those who can brave the cold and secure their riches through the grasping hands of the government. That sounds pretty peak, you could say. Little water break. Oh yeah. Yeah, they're Vulcan Nest, ruthless, totally ruthless. It's like the Republic of Ashfield, which is very doctrinally sound, and the laws are pretty firm, but they're fair. And then you put that on its other side, and it's like, you gotta go. You stole a piece of bread, 18 years in jail. Like it's pretty ruthless. Lastly is Kurzik State. The wisest of sages and scribes live here and hold the best spellcrafters and wizards in all of Nautilus. Known for its dangerous, fantastical creatures and the powerful artifacts the wizards of Rosen City make. Rosen City being the capital of Kurzik State. All of these have their own council or their own counselor / senator / whatever we want to call it, that is on the Council of Calidia. And then each of their cities that is not the capital. So, for example, if we are in Rosen City or Kurzik State, Frossenheim, Manawak, Kaiser, and Ledeva all have their own counselor that leads that city and then reports to the senator. I guess that'd be the right way. Counselors, and then senators, which go above them. So it's pretty cool. It's neat to have that that style of leadership. I haven't really done much with that, so that's pretty cool. Some interesting POIs. The Abscess. What? What is the abscess? It is a big hole in the earth that just appeared one day. About 3 months ago, if we're looking at modern time, which is 3003. So 3003 minus 3 months ago. 3003 post-affliction, by the way. A angel of Ozak, a creator angel, which I will show very briefly what those look like. That is this bad boy. Just, they are a mass of different colors and shapes, and they're contorting and changing always, and they come to speak one word of creation, and then they vanish. And Ozak, the god of creation and life, speaks in the language of creation. So when he says things, things start to create and happen. So very rarely do him or his angels speak, but when they do, something big happens. And so a angel of Ozak appeared at the abscess, said something. No one was obviously around to witness it, and then he vanished, and so did the surrounding area, and thusly the abscess was born. So pretty interesting. We already talked about Port Sostaris and the massive thing there. Talked a little bit about Calidia and how big that is, and the Blades of Novos, which is pretty cool. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that's like a big deal. Oh yeah, we have the trials. Ooh, the trial of nature, trial of order, the trial of life, the trial of gods, and the trial of adversary. Each of these 5 islands surrounding Nautilus have an important part in the story of Nautilus, the disgruntlement with the government. And what I mean by that is that each of these represent a trial. Each of those islands represent a trial. And every year, once a year, every person in jail at that time, whether you have stolen bread or you have committed a vile atrocity, basically draw sticks. And one person from each state is selected to go to a trial, and basically they're left there. They're left there. They fight to the death, or they fight to whatever. And the last person that is residing at the basically pickup spot, law, for example, at trial of order, or wrath at trial of nature, they are taken back to their state and they are set free regardless of what they did. And so what this does is it does 2 things. One, it encourages and really heavily enforces the idea that you should not commit crimes, regardless of what it is. Do not commit crime, because even if it's just stealing bread, you might go to the trial. Your life might be completely forfeit. So it's quite brutal. All right, I'm back. Excuse me. I almost had a coughing fit. All right. So those 2 things, like one was that like it really discourages people from breaking the law. 2, it has created immense disgruntlement throughout everyone in Nautilus. They're like, dude, it's messed up. It's messed up. It gives no chance for grace. And the government they've heard that, and they've responded, but crime is so low. Crime is so low. So just don't worry about it. Just don't commit crime. Just don't commit crime. And regardless, it's a fantasy world, but it does create for some really interesting political discussions and dynamics. I love those conversations with the party and with NPCs and stuff. We all enjoy it, but yeah, so it does those 2 things. Each of them has their own different difficulties, trial of nature, trial of order. And I haven't quite figured out what that looks like. That looks like a hand. It's pretty cool. But you have those 5 trials, and it makes for some really interesting dialogue. But yeah, I'm going to get into some of the more semantic stuff. What resources does Nautilus have? Natural minerals and Clerigar. And we've discussed Clerigar is a very interesting discussion. Basically, I'm going to very quickly touch on it. Clerigar is any crystal that has been infused with immense amounts of magical power, and it holds and contains that power within it. The type of crystal, like a sapphire or a emerald, and then the type of magic, abjuration, evocation, all play into what kind of effects that Clerigar has. But people can put it on their weapons, their armor, make amulets, make jewelry. People have embedded it into their skin. It's like they like have the power themselves. It's super funky. There's a lot of Clerigar in Nautilus. A lot of natural minerals. Clerigar deposits are hard to find, but plentiful given enough time and utilized in a similar way to Irori. Using them as powerful integrations to weapons, armor, and tools. A pickaxe with a fire Clerigar can smelt the ore as it struck or burrow twice as fast. Stuff like that. Powerful clergy and food production, which leads into question 2, which are the benefits for the people. But Fia, Micah, Ozak, and Scarlet are very popular. In fact, the government of Nautilus is so supportive they've given multitudes of land to the gods of nature and wild, which we talked about. Ozak and Scarlet are worshipped all across the planet. Gathering of Dunkirk is known for some of the best healers and midwives of the world. Port Sistaris has the largest church of Ozak on Eldetch, and Scarlet is worshipped on the southern side of Nautilus, southern matriarchs of Vulcan Nest, which they have kind of taken to a bit of an extreme. We talked about how they're like almost dogmatic in the way that they idolize their leaders. And it's because people believe that they are like blessed by Scarlet herself, which is the goddess of love and passion. Not like lewd, inappropriate, like more like the passion of something you love, like art or drawing or music, right? Like she is the one that would send a muse to someone to inspire them to write a great novel. There is love in that, but there's also so many other beautiful things. But they have taken it to the extreme of like, I am to be like almost worshipped because I am aligned with her. It's really funky. Here's a big deal. All worship of Harian is banned across the continent. Harian is the god of rebellion and the slave. Not like the person who has slaves, but like the person who is the underdog is backed by Harian. And Harian is banned, like the worship of him is banned across the entire continent. There are a few people who will slip out into the claim of the wild and worship him in secret. These are kind of lawless areas where the government doesn't really care what happens out there, as long as the resources aren't being taken and people aren't building on it, because then the promise is broken. But if a couple people go out there, go camping, it's cool. Elkshade actually has a group of rangers that go out and they document the monsters and the critters that kind of live out here. It's really cool. But yeah, all worship of Harian is banned across the continent. Food is free in a majority of places, at least cheap food is. Employees of the government are giving out food tickets that can be traded for a loaf of bread and half pound of meat, and are a secondary currency in some locations and can easily be bought for 1 silver in some locations as well. And healers are often incredibly cheap, or in the Gathering of Dunkirk, completely free, as the government mandates cheap healing. So it's pretty cool. But we want to talk about Malkon. Ave, true to Malkon. It's funny that in the Explorer's Guide to Nautilus, one of the common questions that we get when we play this campaign is, well, what is Malkon up to? So I have a little bit I want to talk about with Malkon. Malkon is incredibly proud of their nation and united in their purpose. Some truly believe it is to save the people from a corrupt government. Others know it is for other means. The territory of Malkon and the Malkonites are waging war against Nautilus over a whole list of reasons, but they're putting it like it's a crusade, in the sense of, your government is evil. Look at this thing that they do to you, like the trials. Look at how disgruntled you are. Let us free you from that. So there actually are quite a few Malkonite sympathizers in Nautilus. Obviously, the government doesn't like them, and a lot of people don't like that there's war, period, but that's pretty fair. But obviously, Malkon is much more nuanced than just that. They got a lot going for them. Malkon is actually a monotheistic culture within a polytheistic society or world. And so what I mean by that is that service to the god Malkon. Malkon is is what's called, oh gosh, I gotta find it. Don't look. I'm just kidding. Where would it be? Whoa! I can't find it. Oh, it's in here. It's in here. I don't know why I was looking anywhere else. Let's see if I can find it. This is from one of my earlier episodes. Talking about the different patron god. Malkon, patron god of the Malkonites? Question mark. I definitely know what I'm talking about now. Malkon is the patron god of the Malkonites. Basically, that whole continent has believed that a mortal is truly actually a deity. And because of the laws and the rules by which this world works, the belief of something truly actually makes it true. If enough people believe in it, and there's enough genuine belief in it, it can become true. And so when someone I'm so sorry, I need water. I'm going to try that one more time because I just coughed like crazy. When enough people believe in something and there's enough genuine faith in that, it can become true. And so when a mortal is being idolized as a god, he will actually ascend into this patron god role. There are two different types of those gods. There are the gods that are resigning over like a idea or concept, like the god of healing and creation. Those are very conceptual rather than like an actual thing. And so they receive their own plane of existence. They are written in the stars. There's all that. Versus the patron god, which is a mortal who has ascended into a patron god role, like Malkon, the god of the Malkanites. That's one thing. Or Ulverdok, the god of dragons, or Malarak, the god of chromatic dragons. They don't get a plane of existence because they aren't a concept, but they have genuine godlike powers because of the belief that people have in them. So Malkon and the Malkanites are not only waging this war to free the people, but they're also doing it in a crusade that says our God is better. He is more real than your God, and we have seen his power. We have seen him himself, and we want to prove to you that Malkon is better. Ave true to Malkon. So they believe that what they are doing is not only right for them, but also right for the others. War is profitable too. War means purpose and unity, and nearly 90% of the Malkanites are supportive of this war. Nautillic has a plethora of resources and labor that can be utilized to fuel the machine that is Malkon. Service to the god Malkon. Malkanites believe that their patron god, Malkon, is the true lord of the entirety of Eldetch, and his rule must be absolute. They are attempting to spread his influence and thusly grow his power. Nautillic is an inherently religious continent, and their belief in the god makes them a foe to Malkon due to their belief in a different religion. Very interesting conversation there. And then also the liberation of the people of Nautillic, right? Malkon believes that what Nautillic is doing is wrong with their trials, and that it is barbaric. They'd rather just imprison the criminals and deal with them in a more judiciary way, rather than making them fight for their freedom and be pardoned. And then a note for the Malkanites. They believe that death in battle with the enemies of Malkon secures them a spot in the afterlife of the Malkanites, known as Arachon. So if you are a Malkanite and you're fighting in this war and you are slain, it's like how the Vikings believe in Valhalla. But it's Arachon and it's Malkanite, so it's way cooler because we made it instead of it actually existing in real life, which I'm just trolling because that's really cool. So all of this goes into context for our campaign. We're at session 11 of it now. It's bumping. It's awesome. There is so much in Nautillic that I didn't really have a chance to like dig into. I'm trying to keep this one a little shorter than normal, about 30 minutes. But I also recognize that there's so much more. And there's also so much more I haven't thought out yet. Like, I have no idea what is in Nautillic. I know it's in Library of Calidia. I have no idea what is in Port Delamore or Port Nunez. I don't know. And that's something I want to encourage you. If you're world building or you're trying to create something, you do not have to have everything planned out before you start. You need a plan, and typically that plan can be, I'm going to, like what we did, I'm starting them in Elkshade, and then they're going to work their way down into Calidia, and then I'm going to open it loose, and wherever they go, I'm going to build it out there. But that means that out of all of this, really, what did I need? I need this. And if someone has a question about this, I can work on it. I can say, hey, I'll get that answer for you when I can. It's awesome. It takes the weight off of having to know everything and just kind of let it rip. And so there's so much here that I have yet to explore, and I can't wait to explore it with the party. I have a lot of ideas about how the gods play into this campaign and how Malkon will, and there's already been kind of things alluded to with characters and NPCs. It's all really, really fun. Gosh, I love D&D. I love storytelling. If there is something that you want to learn about in Malkon, in Nautillic, in Eldetch as a whole, the gods, the people, the artifacts, the ancient societies, please let me know. I love talking about it. I hope that you guys have enjoyed this episode of Craze Game Master Rambles. I will be sure to post a little bit more frequently as the fall is approaching, and I might be getting a little bit more Seth time to do this. So thank you guys so much for watching. I will catch you guys in the next one. Have a great day.